Alright lads, there's been a lot of chatter in the community about this exactly, about NERO Fest, because now that stuff with the anniversary and we officially have Oberon's banner coming out, people are really wondering, when are we getting NERO Fest? Has it been cancelled? And I'm here to tell you that I do think we're going to be getting it probably closer to the end of this month, and I'll explain why in this video. So we're going to take a look at the JP schedule and kind of find out why they may have shifted NERO Fest around. But before we start getting into that, if you have not already, make sure you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel for that daily FGO content. Also, if you want to see me play FGO live, I do that every weekday starting at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over on my Twitch, which is linked down in the description down below. But let's start talking about this. So first and foremost, where was NERO Fest supposed to be? Well, it was supposed to be right here in front of the Melusine banner, but we obviously didn't get that because our anniversary was a little sooner than, well, the beginning of August like it was on JP. Ours was actually on the 3rd of July, so a little bit ahead of schedule. They didn't have time to put this in here, but don't worry, I think we actually have time to slide it on here quite nicely right after this Morgan rerun banner, because as you can see, all of this kind of runs towards the end of August, and then when we start getting into, say, September over here, that's when they started doing the summer stuff over here. Summer was very, very late, as it kind of usually tends to be over on JP. They tend to run their summer after their anniversary, which their anniversary is very late. I mean, we're going to be getting it at the end of July, right? So it's, you know, always a late time for their anniversary. And so I think if they just want to come in and slide it on in right here, I think that'd be perfectly fine. You know, we have, say, this Oberon banner that just dropped for us a couple of days ago, and then about a week from that, we should see the Morgan banner, and then realistically, after that, they could just drop NERO Fest, have that run for about, say, 2 weeks, and then bam, then do Summer 6 over here, because it's already supposed to be a very late event anyway, and then I kind of feel like we're back on track, right? Just shifting things around a little bit, having Anniversary be a little sooner, but then having NERO Fest be a little bit later. And now, if you're one of the more, I guess, casual players, and you don't know why people are so up in arms about this NERO Fest, is that, for one, it's a lottery, right? And if you're newer, you just started playing because of Anniversary, or you just started playing because of Lost Belt 6, whatever have you, and you don't understand, these lottos are like the best event in the game. You can basically infinitely farm them, and as you farm them, you get these little materials that let you open what people have called boxes, right? You can open up these boxes, and the first 10, you know, have a set limited amount of things, but then this one, this like 11th box and onward, you can farm this as much as you want. And as you can see, you actually get a decent bit of QP, you get a decent bit of EXP cards, and then you get some nice mats as well. And so this is why people are really clamoring for this, because we have had just an absolute onslaught of really good servants that are all like, you gotta level up this guy, you gotta get this guy done. I mean, we've had Morgan come out, Castoria came back, Melusine came back, then we had Koyanskaya released, who made people like Melusine and Morgan even better because she brought in like the whole Buster farming system. Now you've got Oberon, right, who makes the Buster farming setup even better. And I think also, alongside the fact that you want to level up all of these dudes, I think there's also the fact of, let me test out this new Buster farming setup in a really good event that I want to farm, right? I can't be the only one who's like, man, I can't wait to actually hit the ground running, actually farming an event with this new setup, which I guess tells you the absolute state of the FGO fandom, when it's like, I can't wait to farm with this new setup, right? But it's a really good event for you to actually take this new setup into account. I'm also kind of maybe speculating that that was kind of their point in shifting this around. They're like, we bring in this new farming type, even though it doesn't specifically, you know, crush the NERO Fest, right? Like, you could have just done this with, say, the art setups and everything. You get this new style of farming that might open up different servants that you're able to use. I know I'm personally excited to just use Morgan because I want to try to get her to bond 15 as fast as possible, frankly. And so I know I'm really excited that I actually have a way to do that. But it also might be that there's a bunch of challenge quests that actually come with this as well. The lotto is like probably the best part about this, because you're going to skyrocket your account. Like, if you literally just stick your head to the ground and start farming, you're going to be super set on like mana prisms. You can walk out with like 25k, and then anytime they bring out a new CE, you can just snipe it just because you have way too many mana prisms. You can have like over 1 billion QP. I just did a farm on JP's lotto, and I walked out with a billion QP, and it's gonna sound crazy, but even that sometimes doesn't feel like enough. But the mats you get as well are just very nice. These are very good critical mats that a lot of different servants need. You got pages, you got knights medals, you got... Don't even get me started on proofs and dust, right? Like, I feel like every single servant and their mother, brother, and sister needs these materials, so it's just really great for that. But also, yeah, you bring in Koyenskaya and Oberon, and I'm not gonna lie, it might just be fun to nuke some of these old bosses. Now, I'll give like a full official guide on this whenever NEROfest actually gets announced over here on NA, but just know if you're a newer player, a lot of these fights used to be really difficult back in the day. Some of them were like, oh, you specifically really gotta have someone, like, where's the Siegfried one? Yeah, there it is. Like, the Siegfried one has, like, super dummy high defense, but it's like, oh, man, I got Emiya with his pierce defense. He's about to make quick work of this, and if you didn't have Emiya, I don't know how you cleared it. You probably took a really long time. Stuff like that, right? These old fights that used to be really hard back in the day, it's just fun to go back and clap them up with these, like, new, really strong servants to get to test them out and see kind of how far we've come, right? So... overall, it's just a really fun 2-week period of events. Like, you have a really good thing to farm. I believe even the good farming nodes drop as soon as the event does, right? Like, I believe you can kind of just hit the ground running as soon as you want to start farming, although I believe there's also 3 sets. Like, it rotates through 3 sets of free quests, right? And obviously I think the free quests get better as you go along, but you still have like a 90 level node to like go ahead and farm. That's not like, you know, terrible dog water to farm. Like, it's still good. And so it's just a very gas event that people are looking forward to, and I'm hoping I'm correct on this one. Now, I don't want to toot my own horn on this one, but when people were like really losing their marbles about where Oberon was and that things were slow, I was like, dog, just look at the JP version. They released Oberon 10 days after Koyenskaya, so I'm like, just give Lost Belt 6 a couple of days to go, and then bam, he drops. So it's like, just kind of follow the schedule. The NA version, while they do shake up things a little bit, their timing is usually very similar to JP, right? Like, it seems like they time things very similarly. And so, you know, I would just give it maybe like 1 to 2 weeks, right? Let's just see if they do the same thing with like a week after Oberon, they drop Morgan's banner, and then more than likely, you know, a week after that, they'll probably announce if they're going to be doing NEROfest. If they do summer first, dude, it's going to be a nightmare because these are just more servants you got to go collect and level up with what limited resources you have left over after these other servants just came through and just robbed you of all of your resources, right? So, I don't know. I really hope they do the smart thing and they do this first, and then they put this in September. It seems like the schedule would line up pretty well for them to do that, right? As you can see, this is like the first week of September, and this is kind of when this should end if they implement it, say, even a week after Morgan's banner drops. So I think that should work very comfortably, but then sometimes whenever I think there's a really good set schedule that will get us right back on path, Les Engel just goes in like the complete opposite direction, and they're like, we're actually going to be doing hunting quests for 2 weeks, and I'm like, fantastic, my favorite. I would have much rather done the lotto, but we'll see what they go ahead and do, because, you know, we've also got like this Prism Ilia thing over here, but like this is kind of just a little side thing where they're like, hey, they're getting like little buffs and everything, isn't that cool? It's like, yeah, we can kind of sweep that under the rug. It's whatever, just drop the buffs and let's start getting into things, right? So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I think this actually does work out rather well as far as scheduling is concerned, but maybe there's something I missed. Let me know in the comments, and you could be like, hey man, ZTL, you were being a real big dumb stupid head, because did you forget that they might move, I don't know, they might move the interlude campaign up, I don't know, maybe you got a different game theory than I do, but I hope this kind of like gives you a general idea of what I think they're going to do and how the scheduling will probably work out moving forward. But with all that being said, you guys have yourselves a nice day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, late guys.